Hi, I'm Greg Uland with Reynolds & Reynolds, and this is Connected. The term omni-channel experiences may be getting a little overused at this point, but what it really boils down to is being able to take care of your customer no matter where they are, whether they're online, in your store, or some combination of the two. Today we sit down with Mike Murray from GoMoto to discuss what this really means in your service department and in retail as a whole. Let's get connected. Mike Murray with GoMoto, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Greg. Thanks for having me.
Yep, absolutely. All right, Mike, so GoMoto kiosks, self-service kiosks traditionally, but there's been a ton of talk just over the last really year, couple of years about, maybe longer than that, the omni-channel experience and having kind of a presence and being wherever the customer is. You know, with Reynolds, we talk about being able to retail anywhere. So if that customer is at home, if they're in the store, or usually what happens is a combination of the two, being able to execute on that strategy is really important for dealers now and going forward. And a lot of times that ends up focusing the conversation in the sales department, but talk about it a little bit in the service drive and in that context and how that plays in.
Yeah, Greg, that's a great question. So for GoMoto, we've thought about omni-channel since the beginning. So it's always been kind of core to who we are. And as we thought about developing the product, it's always been a part of that strategy. And it really started with our in-store kiosks. And that experience was to make it easy, convenient for customers to come in and interact with the service lane the way they want, and then providing that information back in a seamless way to integrate back into the dealership and the store to move forward. So that's where we started it. Since then, we've migrated, and I'm sure your customers or everyone here at NADA has used the online experience to check in, whether you're flying Southwest, JetBlue. It really doesn't matter. You checked in from home, you got the QR code, you scan it at the airport, and you came here. Well, we've created the same experience for the service drive, where now we've created a QR code where the customer can lay on the couch, check themselves in, scan themselves, they get to the dealership, sign and go to make it really convenient. We've even had it now where customers are starting to think about extending that experience beyond both the in-store experience and the mobile and putting it in locations that are remote. So we've got a customer out in Arizona actually that's put a remote kiosk out inside of their store to provide convenience for their consumers outside of their local market.
That's pretty cool. So when you think about the ability to expand capacity, you know, it's really expensive to build a bigger service facility, right? But if you can expand capacity, whether it be by really extended hours or pick up and drop off type of stuff, just to be more efficient for both you and the customer, there's a pretty big opportunity there. So if you don't mind, dive a little deeper into that example you were talking about. It's a pretty cool idea with what they've been doing.
Yeah, so the customer's out, it's called Sand Chevrolet out in Glendale, Arizona, and they partnered with the local children's hospital there to provide service, convenient service for their customers or for their hospital staff to be able to drop off their cars when they check into work. The cars are taken away by the dealership to be serviced, and they're brought back at the end of the day. So talk about great service right now. It doesn't get any more frictionless or convenient than that. They're providing a service for, as we all know, taxed hospital workers, doctors, nurses, janitors, custodians, everyone in there that's been working nonstop to keep us safe. They're providing this service as a convenience for them out there in the store. So they're not the only ones who are doing that. We're seeing that happen actually at transportation hubs in major cities where people commute or drop cars off. Yeah. So I think it's something you're going to see as people continue to extend that omni-channel experience out further to the guests, meeting them where they want to get met.
Yeah, it's very cool, and that creativity is impressive, and that specific examples are a really nice one, obviously with hospital workers and things along those lines. But taking it, you know, to the next level of creativity could be really interesting. I mean, think about even just an airport, right? You drop a car off at the airport, and what does that look like? And there's probably a lot of opportunity there to expand on that. So it's a pretty interesting idea. Yeah. So Mike, as dealerships are thinking about this omni-channel experience and approach, especially in service, what are some of the things to look out for? You know, you start going full speed ahead, and then you hit a speed bump, and it's like, I should have known that, but you don't. There's no way until you hit it. So what are some of those things to kind of keep their eyes out for and look for?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I think that, you know, having a plan when you go into it's really important. What's easy, what's convenient, what makes sense for the customer. So if you think about it from a customer's perspective, or even your own perspective as a customer, what would work for you? How do you want to interact with any store, whether it's the buying process, the support, the service, the delivery of the product, and think about it from your perspective. And a lot of people think about, I want it convenient, I want it fast, and I want it simple. right? And if they put it in that perspective, I think it'll make it a lot easier for you, and make sure that everything works together. There's oftentimes where people buy disparate technologies because they think it's going to solve a problem. Technology by itself does not solve a problem. Connected technologies solve a lot of problems as long as they all work together. They can actually have a really big impact for your store. So we're excited about the future for while consumers are using it and where this product goes from here. And who knows, maybe we've been doing service cars and loaner cars out of the kiosk sometime soon remote. So
be pretty cool.
We'll see where it goes.
All right, sounds good. Anything else we haven't touched on that you want to at all, or anything else top of mind for you?
Just real quick, I think that you mentioned the omni-channel, and for us, it's everything. You use the word retail anywhere,
right?
And I think that that's really the way I think about things. Is it's not just online. It's not just the buying of something. It's the servicing. It's all of it together, meeting that customer where they want and extending it as far as you can to reach them as close to the normal living environment as you can. And I think that this retail anywhere concept is really something that people should be thinking about as they go forward. So I appreciate it.
All right, Mike. Well, thanks so much for sitting down and chatting. It was a great conversation. So Mike Murray with GoMoto, have a wonderful day.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me be a part of it. Have a great day.
Thanks so much for joining the conversation today. Before we hop off, don't forget you can watch or listen to episodes of Connected on YouTube, Apple, or Spotify podcasts. And make sure to hit subscribe so you're notified every other Wednesday when new episodes are released. Thanks so much, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.